fact that it really just seems like the gaslighting of a whole society, right? It's just, if we're going to insist that a biological male who's done absolutely nothing to transition is a woman simply because he calls himself a woman, right? For the purposes of going into a prison, or for the purposes of going into a woman's changing room. And we're not going to dignify the concerns of women and girls who are placed into that situation as anything other than, their own closed-mindedness and their own bigotry, right? It's like, it's just, this is going to drive people crazy for obvious reasons. And it's going to make them single-issue voters for obvious reasons. Just as purely, whatever you think the underlying ethics are, purely as a matter of, practical politics, it's just disastrously stupid to be insisting that we use language in this way. So yeah, I just know people who I literally can't have relationships with anymore because they've been driven so crazy by this kind of issue. And it's understandable. I'm not, sharing their monomania happily, but this is a place where it's pretty clear we need to hold the line. And if we can no longer use the term woman or girl in any straightforward way, if we have people insisting that you can't put a baby's biological sex on its birth certificate because that could be, misgendering them, and that we need to be open-minded as to whether we've had a boy or a girl until this child's, seventh birthday or whenever it is that they can be counted upon to know what sex they are. This is just as an opportunity cost for a society. The fact that any time is being spent getting tied in those particular knots is going to drive people crazy I think for obvious reasons.
On who gets to self-ID as being a trans man or a trans woman or non-binary or whatever. By the rules of trans rights activists, everyone that you're going to see is a woman simply because they say so. Cassandra, a pan-trans woman looking for friends, dates, and kissing friends. And Cassandra's hobbies also include being kinky, because of course you got to throw your kink in there. Hates cops, hates Nazis, hates TERFs, hates bigots, strictly anti-fascist. Of course, none of that should be, a surprise to anyone. Always have those kinds of buzzwords in your profile, because these are the kinds of people who self-identify as women when just looking like men.
Okay, next person. Brinnifer. Is this like a new ship name for Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez getting back together? If so, love it. Again, the beard, I just don't get it. All right, we got the next profile. Des, or Deez, or Does. Des. I think it's Des. I don't know how to pronounce that name. My friend Andrew on Twitter, though, I posted this a while ago. Andrew said, Deez nuts, and I'm dying. Also, doesn't this person's profile picture remind you of something I commented on a while back? Remember that exhibit in San Francisco that was promoting these? Also, why is it that so many supposed trans women love posing with bats? Is it because they're trans women that are also lesbians and they like softball? I will say this, I feel like this all is just a bit, manly. Isn't this the opposite feel? Like if you're going for a trans woman that already doesn't pass, wouldn't you just try to present even more feminine to feel as much female as you could? Am I making sense here? What I'm trying to say is, wouldn't it be to your benefit to act as feminine as possible? And I know that feminine doesn't mean female, but if you can't look female, wouldn't you at least try to look feminine? It doesn't make sense to want neither of those things if you're actually transgender. Another question I have is, how many people actually think somebody would want to date them after seeing this as their profile picture?